Morning, my love.
Welcome to another podcast with Hayley, Keeping It Real with Hayley and Leanne. It's been a while since we've done a podcast, and it's strange because this one today we're doing expectation, aren't we?
We are.
And I was this morning as I was going to work, taking Josh to school, and dropping Megan. I had a huge expectation about being perfect today, making no mistakes. But that, and then like it just hit me. That's not me being like authentic. And of course I'm going to make mistakes. That's part of humans and being real, isn't it? And of course this is not going to be perfect, because what is perfect? You know, you've said it before, we're perfectly imperfect. So I just took the pressure off. And even when I started this podcast, the expectations to start with a introduction that sounds, okay. How do you introduce? Expectation is everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah, no, I relate to it. I just that really makes me laugh. We've got to be perfect. That expectation of being perfect, and it's just not true or real to me. It's just I see that as just we put this enormous pressure on ourselves, and there's no one else putting that pressure on us. We do it in our own reality, because we create our own reality moment to moment, and we do have expectation, and then it just causes a load of anxiety and pressure for us, and it's just not achievable. It's just really everything is what is. But we get caught up in it all the time. We do get caught up in it. We really do. Just now, I was thinking about like stupid things like my hair. I've got hay fever. My eyes are too puffy. Blah 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 blah. And it's just like, well, that's not keeping it real at all, is it?
The purpose is to keep it real.
What's on the outside of us? Sorry.
Yeah. No. I was saying the purpose is to keep it real, and the pair of us, yours is your the image. And mine is what I'm gonna, performance.
It's not even so much like an image thing. It's as I've said before, like I'm registered blind, so it could be like, have I missed something? So then I'm like scrutinizing myself for like if I put makeup on and everything, because I have an expectation of like just like not having like this before I've gone out and I've got like something stuck on my cheek, or like toothpaste down the top, or like, and everyone does it, but yeah, so I just get like a little bit of a uncomfortable feeling because I've got an expectation that I want to be presentable. That's more of a thing for me. I just want to be presentable and like decent, like something. Okay. Some stories going on for me there, but not that I'm going to go into it. So yes, so it's even down an expectation to image, how you come across, delivery, on speaking. It's just everywhere, isn't it?
It is everywhere, Leanne. It is absolutely everywhere. And I had it recently with a personal situation with at home that was happening for a good couple of months. This was going on, and I was expecting myself to cope. I was expecting myself to pull myself together. And then surrender was coming up to me, and I was like, well, I should be able to do this. I should be able to cope. What's going on? And expecting myself, there must be something wrong with me. But no, that's comparison. But the main thing for me was expecting myself not to lose it, not to have a few days of grieving and emotional and despair, and this is what's going on. Not grieving in a sense of losing someone, but it was a change in circumstances. So I always call anything changing, like you go through a bit of a grieving process, because things are changing. And so I was expecting all this of myself, and then when I realized this and recognized, I took the pressure on myself. I thought, why am I pretending to be someone who I'm not? Where's your truth? Like, where's your truth here? I was talking to myself, and then I had an expectation of Steve, how he should be dealing with this, and and this was going on all in the mix of when we're not present, like when we're not aware and we're in the story and we're in the conformity, when we're all in that and wrapped up in the cycle of thinking the worst case scenario, should we say. That when I took the pressure off me, and then I realized, oh my God, I'm having an expectation of Steve, how he should be coping. We are, my perception of you is that's not okay. This is what, and it really helped me to just surrender and to accept this is happening. Take your responsibility in this. This is not going to go away until you deal with it, rather than because I think a little bit of my expectation comes back to if I expect myself not to cope, I won't cope, and someone else will save me. That comes in with me as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and does that happen? Does someone save you, Hayley?
No, that makes you go down a darker hole, doesn't it? Someone might save you temporary. Your feelings might be lifted temporary, but a good friend of mine, not mention any names, Leanne, mentioned boundaries, which helped me. When I was in expectation, I wasn't really seeing clearly. That's what was happening. I wasn't seeing clearly.
Well, that's what happens because we're blinded, aren't we, temporarily, because we are in that, whatever situation it is, we're in that, and we're trying to navigate all case scenarios. If there's like who's in this situation, and then you're putting enormous pressure on yourself to have to be coping with all of it all at once. Without communicating what your expectation is of, say, behavior from somebody, they're not automatically going to know, especially if we're talking about young adults or children, or even adults. Just as if we don't say, well, actually that's not okay with me, XYZ, what works for me is la 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 la, whatever la 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 is. And then that's communicated. Do you know what I mean? And then if that person then doesn't respond to that, it's disappointing. So this is all about expectation. If you have a high expectation of somebody, you've got a high expectation of yourself, and therefore it creates a disappointment, because then you don't reach the bar. Do you know what I mean? Then it's not achievable. So then we raise the bar even more. Well, I failed this time, so I'm just going to raise it again. And that expectation grows, and that pressure grows, and it's just not being present and not being realistic of what is. Right now, everyone's okay, but this isn't okay. X, Y, the behavior is not okay. And there's going to be a consequence for that behavior. It's down to even like me and my son, and something simple like, let's just pick something out of the hat. Oh, clearing up after yourself. Classic.
Yeah.
I expect, if you make a mess, I expect you to clear it up.
Yeah.
But it's not automatic with children, because they've got, well, he's a young man. So it's like, it's not automatic because he's distracted, because there's much more exciting, more fulfilling things like friends, girlfriends, going out, the sun shining, the beach. Do you know what I mean? He's finished school, GCSEs and all that. So there's more exciting things, Mum, than clearing up. And I do get that. But it's like, no, my expectation to how this house is run is this. And it doesn't matter how many times I put it in place, there is a level of disappointment, because it might be something that's thoughtless or whatever. And it's reaffirming that with communication, clear communication, that isn't okay. And it does get a bit wearing, doesn't it? It does get a little bit like, oh, here we go again. But that's okay. I'm being present in the fact of I'm dealing with it in the moment, and that is not okay. I expect from you this, and this, and I'm going to keep doing that. Otherwise, there's going to be a consequence. Simple. But then we get into our head with, it was sunny, and it's like, no, hang on a minute, chatter, devil, angel, ego, devil going, oh, we're it's all right, because it's going down the beach. Oh, I don't think so. Do you know what I mean? And it's that constant conversation going on in your head that takes you out of being present, and then the expectation of, oh, what should I have done? Because it's down to me. No, actually, it's not. I'm mum, your son, and you clear up after yourself. Capiche? Done.
Yeah. And but you know,
that's a simple example of when we have expectation. Really simple, but you know.
yeah. And what was I listened to a few weeks ago? Oprah Winfrey speaking about expectations of how we expect our parents to love us. So we have an expectation of how we should love our children, but also children have an expectation of how we should love them. And if we don't feel that that expectation, they can go into comparison. So and so's mum does this for them, but expectations can be quite, certain expectations can be quite dangerous, because if you're expecting a person to love you in a certain way because of something you've seen or something you've heard, and that person doesn't do that because that's not the way they show love, it can be quite dangerous, where that person will feel unloved. And we do expect so much of how somebody should love us, how somebody should treat us. And I know there's a fine line with boundaries here. But if I was to show my children love from my way, my authentic way, and they was to see something that, oh, I thought love was this way, it's innocence, but they're expecting me to behave that way. And this is where it goes a little bit deeper, and it can feel it can sometimes feel confusing because I'm going a little bit deeper into it, but I hope that makes sense. Do you understand? Do you get what I'm saying here about the expectation of how we should feel, how they should love us, or how they should treat us?
Yeah, because I still think that's a programming though from
Yeah.
I think that's a programming from either experience or movies, Hollywood movies,
That's
classic
it.
scenario, the
Yeah.
romantic movie, or fairy tales that we force our children to listen to in the One and Happily Ever After and stuff. And I've got a very different view now of all that, of what we put our children in front of. Because that in a level does breed an expectation that's like a false view of what love is, of like Prince Charming comes in, sweeps you off your feet, and then takes you off into an idyllic fantasy.
That don't happen.
Yeah, no. So we put our children in front of these movies innocently, by the way.
Innocent.
They're nice feel factor movies. They're nice stories and la la la, but it's still a story. As long as we can, as parents, especially, or as they grow up, to communicate what true love is. Love isn't just all about what they view it as. Loving a child or a partner is sometimes actually putting that boundary in and saying, that's not on. That's me loving myself. And that's actually so that you know that what's okay and what's not okay. And it's not so much of an it is an expectation, but when we truly know who we truly are, and we are our true authentic selves, then why would I put up with that? Why would I put up with that? So, and it's teaching our children, and it's all communication is key. So we can say, even though this is a movie, this is a movie, and this is this and this has happened, it's just a story. And then you can go into what a story really is without thought and illusion, and we can really teach our children that to put boundaries in. And even though I might be angry with you, or I might lose my temper and get a fierce tone, doesn't mean I don't love you. It means I do love you, because I'm teaching you how to grow up being a decent person and an independent individual, and don't be codependent, and because I'm teaching you how to, bit by bit, how to be a decent human being with morals and live by core belief and standards, and that's what we are. It's part of being a parent is not being liked. Because I had the expectation that, it's always going to be always so lovely. And part of loving anybody is actually putting that in to save and protect ourselves, and to so that we do get treated how by, you know, because we are worthy, we are enough. So why would I let somebody treat me or my children, or teach my children that accepting certain behavior is okay? So it's not so much of what we see and what they think love is. It's I just see that as explaining that it's an energy, and love is an energy. We are part of that energy. You know, we are that. You know, unconditional love. We are this. It runs through our veins, but sometimes we forget. But you know, this is just life. But they have a portrait of what love is through social media, what they look like, or films, and you know, adverts, YouTube, all of it. So then that's the programming. So I feel it's our job to kind of unpick that program and actually tell them that what I do with my child is actually saying like it's loving yourself, and teaching them not to have an expectation, funnily enough, of feeling it from someone else. That's who we truly are. Someone can't make you happy. You know, you're feeling love in the moment. That, you know, it's not something you pick up outside of you. It's here already. So if we have an expectation on a partner should do this, that, and the other, and ride in on a white charger and rescue us, that's not reality. You work as a team and you grow together, and that's part of loving each other, you know, and that goes in family relationships, friends, and it goes all the way through. So then you have less expectation of what should be fantasy.
Yeah. And but if you know, a lot of people are, like we spoke about, innocence, they're in innocence and they're not aware of this. Not aware because they're in expectation. You know, they're in expectation. Say, I don't know, somebody calls you, or somebody does something for you all the time, you know, that regularly. They
oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and then all of a sudden it stops. We're in expectation. Hang on a minute. Well, why have they stopped? They normally do that. I felt it when I was stopping things I would expect of myself, because that made me a good friend or a good mom or a good partner. You know, yeah. So I stopped, and I felt the uncomfortableness from my expectation, but I got it the other end as well, because they were innocently in expectation. You do this all the time. You always buy me this gift on a Friday. Just say it's like a, or you know, you always send me a message at 10 in the morning. Why are you not messaging me?
Oh, it's so true.
You know, and
yeah, no, I totally I totally get it. It's like, but you haven't said goodnight.
You always
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, something must be wrong, obviously, because you do that at 10 o'clock every night. You say goodnight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It is that, isn't it?
It is. And or you didn't put 2 kisses on the end. You put one.
Classic.
Why didn't you put a love heart today? You normally do. Yeah, that.
Oh dear.
But you know, and it's innocence. We are not aware that I wasn't aware when I was in this this turmoil. This turmoil I was, experiencing, which was very, it felt very real, and it was really happening. But it was just helping me to put boundaries down and to know what's acceptable and that's okay, and not what's not acceptable. I was in that expectation, that innocence, because I wasn't aware. And then when I become aware, that's when I realized, why am I expecting this of myself? Why am I expecting myself not to feel vulnerable when I am vulnerable? And it's the truth. If you're feeling vulnerable and you're trying to not, because it's like those two images we have. I know there's plenty more, but I'm going to use 2. We have an image of ourselves to the outside world, and then we have the internal one. If our external image is to be confident because we don't want to be seen as vulnerable because we might get taken advantage of, the expectation inside of us is you've got to be confident. What are you doing? They're going to see through you. It's so, and I felt this plenty of times. Like this morning, I felt it. And there's a vulnerability this morning because this is something that I don't always do. This is something where I'm putting myself in a situation where people could judge me, and that's a vulnerability, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so why would I expect myself to come on here? I think it's like, because I was watching Russell Brand last night, and what am I expecting myself?
So you're comparing yourself to how he does the podcast,
comparison,
and then have a high
expectation.
expectation of how
that's
eloquently he speaks.
Yeah. Let me take some lessons. Let me just study. No, why am I expecting myself?
That's it. We need Russell Brand to mentor us.
Russell, if you see this.
That's not an expectation at all. That's realistic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's a fine line, isn't it, between comparison? They do go, you know, if you look at in between lines, they go in between, and it's that perception of the outside world. I see clients say to me, you know, I've been together for 15 years and it's now been a year. Why am I not over it? An expectation that they should be over it. When the truth is, you're still healing. There might be something you're holding on to. You know, it's expectation with mental health. It's everywhere, Leanne. It's absolutely everywhere. I should be better by now.
Yeah, when that's what we're going back to again. It's the pressure and it's the heavy judgment on ourselves, because we're upping that bar again of what we should be or where we should be. And not in acceptance of we are where we are. And this is, you know, we are where we are because this is where we're meant to be right now.
Yeah.
But that's hard when you're in it, because it feels so real.
Oh God,
and it feels so true. It really does. And it really does. And we all do it, but everyone's got a how we see ourselves and how everyone sees us. Everyone has their own individual view or perception of who Leanne is, you know, but I only truly know Leanne.
Yeah.
And that's just the name. That's just my name. I'm so much more than that name or who people see. Everyone's got a version of me. And I've got a version of everybody else, but only we know truly who we truly are. And so it's that thing again, and we come out, and also expectation of, well, why haven't I got like in a career? And that was a massive thing for me.
Oh, okay,
instead of thinking, oh look, I've had such health issues, or and I'm a single parent, and instead of like being really kind to myself, I'd be like, oh come on, it should have been happening by now. It's been far too long. I should be, and I'd just be so hard on myself, so hard, not thinking. And then I'd come back into gratitude again, thinking, my goodness, with everything that has happened, which has helped increase my awareness, you know what I mean? And be grateful for my learnings and appreciate where I truly am this very second. No, just carry on beating yourself up, Leanne. Just carry on telling yourself you haven't achieved too much, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. But if you look at, it's that thing again, isn't it? Looking at what we have done, and be just really appreciative of where we are right now and how blessed we are. And it comes down to that judgment and pressure on ourselves, and that to me is that expectation.
Oh, definitely. And I was thinking of something a few weeks ago when everyone was stressed because of some stuff that had gone on, and knight in shining armor, I came in thinking, right, I'm going to get this energy back up, but I had the pressure on me to bring everyone back up, not allowing them to be sad, not allowing them to be in their uncomfortable feelings, which we know is okay. So it's just, we are not our feelings, we are not our faults, they are just a result of sometimes emotional responsive, blah blah blah. I don't want to go into that, but I came in expected everyone to be happy, and I'm going to get them up, and then I had to check in with myself. Who do you think, let them have this moment, or another classic is when you go out on a date, New Year's Eve. I think that's come down, but people would expect themselves to have a really, expectation on how the night will go. If you've got a party or something, how this should, this putting this pressure on you to be the entertainer, and how everyone should be enjoying themselves. You can't control that. You can't control if people are going to enjoy themselves. But we do. If people are not enjoying themselves, we obviously think it's us, but it's nothing to do with us. We've done a crap party. We've got boring music on, and it's just expectation of pressure.
You go into a party going, why is everyone not enjoying themselves? Come on. Yeah. Slightly intense.
I'm feeling the pressure, love.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the pressure of I should be enjoying myself. You've got this expectation on us,
Instead of enjoying the experience of seeing people and having a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting one, isn't it? It's just being aware that, for me, my experience is being aware that if you just speak from your truth, if you're happy, you're happy. If you're vulnerable, you're vulnerable. If you're, even if you are in expectation, if you're aware of that and you're, it's just being yourself. That's how you find, that's how you love and accept who you are, when you speak your own truth, when you speak your truth to you.
Yeah, I just think it's okay to be in and out of it.
Yeah.
The more you catch yourself, the your awareness is rising, and but it's okay to feel disappointment. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel everything. Just be, with and it's, sometimes we're blinded by it, sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. It's being kind to yourself when you don't see it, and then when you do, instead of beating yourself up, just going, oh God, I see that I was doing this, or being emotionally responsible for someone else's feelings, someone else's happiness, and therefore I just put pressure on myself because I had an expectation on myself and others to respond to my expectation, and they didn't. So whatever it is, it's just the way we navigate through life. But it's just being aware. Awareness is key. It's consciousness. We are consciousness.
Yes.
And all these lessons that we learn are beautiful, really, even when they don't feel like it.
Yeah, and when you talk about feelings, just the amount of times I have with my own clients is they're having a couple of weeks or a couple of days, and then they have some sad days or some stressed out days. There must be something wrong. They're expecting themselves to stay in this place, this pressure they put on themselves. Well, hang on a minute, I was really good. That means I've gone backwards, or this, nothing works. But it's not the feelings that are the problem. It's our reaction to the feelings, isn't it? It's not, if you fight, if you're feeling scared, or you're feeling sad, or you're feeling anxious, or whatever you're feeling, they're never the problem. It's the reaction.
Yeah, that's why response is always the healthier option rather than reacting. Reacting to anything. No, sometimes we can't help it. It just happens.
Yeah, of course.
And everything is so temporary. Even, everything is so temporary. We just don't realise it sometimes.
Yeah. So just be aware. It's the awareness. That's what you said. It's the awareness of the expectation, the awareness where you are. It doesn't matter if you're in and out of things. It does not matter, because that's how you grow and you learn and you connect with you, isn't it?
And it's okay, because we were speaking about it earlier, actually, before we come on. It's okay to feel the fear. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Classic line. It's just like, if there's a bit of fear there, it might be because it's quite important to you. So you have to, and like walking through that fear, is okay. All of it's okay. It's just fear is a part of life as well. We expect us to be fearless. We have an expectation of us not to feel the fear. But it's a really natural feeling, because we're always thinking, oh, hang on a moment, get me chafing. Sorry, we're always feeling our thinking moment to moment. So we've got a lot of thoughts about what might occur And then we bring that anxiety and fear in of what might be. And it never is how we thought it'd be anyway. But we're just feeling that. And when you have that awareness that we are feeling our thinking all the time. So it's, and that comes in with expectation, all of it. It really is. It's as simple as they're just taught. We just have these tools to navigate life.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they all merge into one, really, didn't they? It's but it's just language.
Yeah. Well, it's just the three, isn't it? It's mind, thought, and consciousness.
Yeah.
So they're all the things that we can't see that help us navigate through life, and we can't even see it.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting. When you break it down to that.
No.
Well, I think I am finished on expectation. What about yourself, Leanne?
Absolutely, sweetheart. Absolutely.
It was good doing another podcast. It was great.
Yes, well.
It's been a while.
It's been lovely talking to you again, Hayley, I have to say.
Yes.
I've missed doing this. I really have.
Yes, have I. Yes. So
yeah.
And we're thinking about, aren't we, doing some interviews next with people next, aren't we? From their experiences. And that's to come. That's next to come.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, darling, you have a great day, and thank you everybody for listening.
And and liking and subscribing.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody, and lots of love.